This is the first video of the new week, and we're going to talk about the points of intersection with the vertical axis, how to make a formula, and after this video you should be able to make 26, 28, 29 and 30 of the new task. So you can see the new task over here. Make sure you have finished your homework and uploaded it on OneNote, and make sure you will do that before 5 o'clock because then I'm going to check it. Okay, if you have questions about the previous homework, please let me know. I hope you already did, but if you didn't, please let me know because then I can help you. Okay, what you see over here is a coordinate system with a graph, and you can see a horizontal axis, we call it the x-axis, and the vertical axis, and we call it the y-axis. If you don't know how to remember it, think about that you throw an egg to the wall, an I, y, so it goes down if you throw an egg to the wall. So that is the y-axis. It's always the y, the vertical axis, and the horizontal axis is always the x-axis. Okay, and the formula of this graph is y is 2x minus 5. And what can you see in a formula? You can read the starting value. In the book they also call it the start number. That's the same. So start number or starting value, and that is the number that you can see on the y-axis. There it's going to intersect. So the starting number or the start number or the starting value is -5, and that is where you can see the intersection point with the y-axis. And you can see the number 2. That is the change per horizontal step 1 to the left. So if you go 1 step to the left, then it's going up with 2. If there was a negative sign before the 2, then the graph should fall. It goes down, but now it's rising. They also call the number 2, that's the gradient. I think you're going to learn that next year, but that means if you go 1 to the right, then you go 2 up. That's the gradient. In Dutch it's called hellingsgetal. Okay, and in the book they're going to ask you something about coordinates. What you can see over here are 4 quadrants, and this graph is going to the first quadrant because it's over here. It's not passing the second quadrant because that's over here. So the graph is over here in the first quadrant, it's in the third quadrant, and it's in the fourth quadrant, but it never will be in the second quadrant. Okay. What are the coordinates of the starting value? The starting point, the intersection with the y-axis? Well, on the x-axis, this point over here is 0, and the y-coordinate is -5. So if you do coordinates, then it's always first the horizontal number and then the vertical number. So coordinates are like this with a comma in between. The coordinates of this point in the fourth quadrant, they are 1 to the right and 3 down, like this. You can always find the start number, the starting value in the formula if you fill in x is 0 into the formula, because if you do 2 times 0 minus 5, then y is 2 times 0 is 0, 0 minus 5 is -5. And that's because on the vertical axis, the y-axis, the x value is always 0 because it's really, well, it's on the y-axis. So please remember that if you fill in for x is 0, that you will find the starting value or the start number. Okay. You should know how to make a formula out of the graph. We practice it a lot. What you need to know are 2 numbers. You need to know the starting value, and that is the number that you can see that passes through the y-axis. And you need to know the change per horizontal step to the left, to the right, I'm sorry. So the starting value is 2. And the change, if you go 1 step to the right, it goes down. So the gradient is negative, change per unit. It goes down by 3 because it starts at 2 and then one step to the right it goes to -1. So the gradient, or the change per horizontal step to the right, change per unit, is -3. And then if you make a formula out of it, start with the y, because that's the vertical axis and the outcome. Then you can start with the starting value. It goes down, so a negative sign, and then it goes down by 3. And then we don't write the multiplication sign anymore, so you can just write the x after the 3, and then you're done. Make sure that you notice the difference between the x and the multiplication sign. So the x is like two bows, they're kissing each other, well, something like that, and the multiplication sign is just a normal cross. So this is not a multiplication sign, it's the x. And the x is always on the horizontal axis, and the y is always the vertical axis. Okay, after this information, you should be able to make 26, 28, 29, and 30. Good luck!